Welcome to another training session from ABC University. In this session, we're going to cover the TD925 steering tag axle with dual tires, Part 2, maintenance procedures. If you have not seen Part 1 of this session, I would recommend going back to Part 1 to see the component overview of the steering tag axle with dual tires. Steer trailing axle to install the front axle angle sensor. Tightening torques refer to the Technical Data Maintenance Manual at the end of Chapter 7.10. Step 1. Set the front wheels in the straight ahead position. Step 2. Install spring pin number 6 in the picture to the left in the kingpin. Install magnet number 5 on the spring pin so that the recess in the magnet is perpendicular with a maximal deviation of 10 degrees. To the direction of travel and is pointed outward. Tighten the screw of magnet number 5 to the prescribed torque. Install angle sensor number 2 with O-ring number 4 and snap ring number 3. Install support number 1. Tighten the screws to the prescribed torque. Teach the control unit the position of the angle sensor. Refer to Mobile Electronics Steered Trailing Axle. Teach position of angle sensor to control unit. Further on in this maintenance manual. To install trailing axle angle sensor. Step 1. Make sure that the trailing axle steering is in the mid position. Refer to putting trailing axle steering in mid position in the maintenance manual. Secure the angle sensor to the chassis. Put the angle sensor arm approximately parallel to the side member next to it. The sensor arm is now approximately in the position as shown on the figure. Step 4. Secure the angle sensor connection rod to the intermediate lever. Apply liquid adhesive Loctite 243 to the screw and tighten to the prescribed torque. Adjust the connection rod length until the hole in the rod coincides exactly with the outer tappet hole in the sensor arm. Make sure that the bar of the rod is screwed into the rod end approximately to the same depth as both sides. Again, apply liquid adhesive Loctite 243 to the screw and tighten to the prescribed torque. Teach the control unit the position of the angle sensor. To put trailing axle steering in mid position, place the trailing axle wheels on turntables. Step 2. Start the engine. Step 3. Stop the engine. The trailing axle steering is now hydraulically put in the mid position. Mobile electronic steered trailing axle. To teach position of angle sensor to control unit. To only be carried out when, after installing a new angle sensor, if the steering mechanism has been modified. Your equipment preconditions: vehicle above inspection pit, parking brake applied, shock in front of and behind drive axle wheels. If the trailing axle angle sensor has to be learned, trailing axle wheels on graduated turntables. The picture below shows the control panel on the control unit. How to turn your trailing axle wheels. You can turn the wheels of the trailing axle by means of key number 2 and number 3 on the control unit. With key number 2, you can steer the wheels to the left. With number 3, to the right. The longer you press a key, the faster the wheels will move. To adjust angle sensors. Each angle sensor is adjusted in 3 steps. With the wheels in the straight ahead position, or 0 on the display. Or with the wheels fully steered to the left, with left on the display. And with the wheels fully steered to the right, with right on display. Adjusting your angle sensor. Start the engine. Set the wheels in the straight ahead position. Press key 4 for 3 seconds. Standby will switch to operating data. Step 4. Browse with key number 2 or 3 through the main menu until access code appears on the screen. Then confirm with key 4. Enter login code. Enter the numeric code 167. Enter the first digit with key 2 and 3 and confirm with key 4. Repeat this for the other digits. Wait a few seconds. The screen automatically returns to the main menu. Browse with key 2 or 3 through the main menu until alignment appears, then confirm with key 4. M1 calibration by axle. Step 8. Confirm with key 4. Browse with key 2 or 3 through the menu until M3 calibration by axle plus positive shows on screen, then confirm with key 4. Your picture below shows you your example. Browse with key 2 or 3 to select the angle sensor you would like to teach and confirm with key 4. Axle 1 allowed, angle sensor of front axle. Axle 3 allowed, angle sensor of trailing axle. Step 10. Press key 4. Adjustment phase at the top, current angle sensor output voltages at the bottom. Step 11. Each of the voltage values between 2350 millivolts and 2650 millivolts. If so, go to step 12. If not, adjust the mid position of the angle sensor. In case of an angle sensor on the steering knuckle, is that by repositioning the sensor on its support. In case of an angle sensor in the linkage, is that by shortening or lengthening the connection rod of the sensor. Then go to step 12. Step 12. Press key 4 to store the values in the memory. The display will show. Press key 4, the next screen will show. Turn the wheels completely to the left. Is the left voltage value simulated between 200 millivolts and 2100 millivolts? And the right between 2900 millivolts and 4800 millivolts? If so, you would go to step 16. If not, then you have to install a correct angle sensor in case of an angle sensor mounted on the steering knuckle. In case of an angle sensor in the linkage, you have to install the connection rod of the sensor in the correct hole of the sensor arm. Then you would proceed to step 16. Step 16. Press key 4 to store the values in the memory. The screen will show your example below. 17. Press key 4. Turn the wheels completely to the right. Step 19. Is the left voltage value situated between 2900 millivolts and 4800 millivolts? And the right between 200 millivolts and 2100 millivolts? If so, we would go to step 20. If not, you have to install a new angle sensor and perform the adjusting procedure again. Step 20. Press key 4 to store the values in the memory. 21. Press key 4 3 times to close the alignment procedure and exit the adjusting menu. To depressurize the hydraulic circuit. You should do this before carrying out works that involves the disconnection of pipes or hose couplings. For your equipment conditions, engine needs to be stopped. Here's a picture of your valve block. Number 1 is your pressure relief valve end cap. Number 2 is your pressure relief valve coil. Even with the engine off, a dangerous high pressure remains in the hydraulic circuit due to the pressure accumulator. Therefore, you have to depressurize the circuit in a safe way before you open it. If you open up the system before you depressurize it, you take the chance of having the hydraulic fluid actually pierce through your skin and get into your blood system, which is not good. If that was to happen, you need to go to the emergency room as soon as possible. The above sticker is located on the pressure accumulator and steering cylinder. It warns for the possible presence of residual pressure in the hydraulic circuit. Disconnect the pressure relief valve connector. Unscrew pressure relief valve and cap number 1. Note, make sure not to lose the O-ring when removing the coil. Remove pressure relief valve coil. Screw on end cap until you feel a firm resistance. The pin at the end of the cap inside now opens the pressure relief valve. Check on the pressure gauge whether the pressure has fallen down. In this slide, we show you the hydraulic control unit. The solenoids marked in red are 12 volt only. Principal function of the steering centering cylinder. Steering mode. The centering unit is connected to a reservoir. Steering movement is done by the proportional chamber of the steering ram. A starts to fill in the wheels when will turn to the right. B will start to fill, the wheels will turn to the left. Centering and locking in air-free operation mode, locking at high speeds. Number 1, the steering ram is positioned into zero position in a closed-loop control mode. Number 2, by leading pressure on the centering device Z, the axle is locked hydraulically. Troubleshooting tag axle steering ECU code. When system is operating properly, you will see ready on the display. Faults recognized by the system during the operation of the electronics are indicated by the appearance of a fault message on the multifunctional display of the instrument panel and yellow light. Even after the fault has been repaired, the fault code remains in memory until you clear the memory. To read and erase fault memory with onboard diagnostic system. To read your fault memory, step 1, switch on the master switch. Standby is displayed on the screen. Press key 4 for 3 seconds. Operating data will display on the screen. Browse with key 2 or 3 through the menu until alarm memory is displayed. Step 4. Press key 4. Alarm index is displayed, followed by the fault code. The fault code consists of 3 groups. A first group of 3 digits, 1 to 255, location of the fault. Second group of 3 digits, 1 to 255, nature of the fault. And the third group of 2 digits, 1 to 3, gravity of the fault. If fault code 255, 255, 255 appears, this means that previous faults in the last store fault. If this already happened as fault number 1, this means that there are no stored faults in the fault memory. Press key 3 to browse forward in the fault memory, key 2 to browse back. Step 6. Exit the fault memory. Refer to Exit Fault Memory in your maintenance manual. To exit fault memory, press key 1. Alarm memory is displayed on the screen. Press key 1 again. Standby is displayed on the screen. Switch off onboard voltage. To erase fault memory, turn on ignition switch. Standby will be displayed. Press key 4 for 3 seconds. Operating data displays on the screen. Step 3. Browse with key 2 or 3 through the main menu until access code appears and confirm with key 4. Enter the numeric code 167. Enter the first digits with key 2 and 3 and confirm with key 4. Repeat this for the other digits. Wait a few seconds. The screen automatically returns to the main menu. Step 6. Browse with key 2 or 3 through the main menu until alarm memory appears and confirm with key 4. On the screen appears the first fault code. Press key 3 and 4 simultaneously until the next screen appears. Press key 4. Exit the fault memory. In this slide, we show you an example of an alarm code with your error, and in the maintenance manual where you can find what that code meant. Steered trailing axle fluid level check. Equipment conditions to check fluid level. Engine idling, steering fluid at operating temperature. Fluid level low, caution. If fluid level is too low, malfunctions and possibility even loss of the trailing axle steering can result. If the fluid level in the tank is too low, the symbol below appears on the dashboard display. To add fluid, topping up should be done with the appropriate pump equipment or the special tool. Your special tools: a pump equipment with filter vanhole number 11146548. Caution: absolute cleanliness is necessary when servicing hydraulic systems. Solid particles entering the liquid may cause considerable damage within a short space of time. Take care that no dirt enters the tank when you open it. Before undoing any pipe or hose connection, thoroughly clean the connections and their immediate surroundings. Do not reuse fluid which has been drained from the circuit. To drain fluid, depressurize the hydraulic circuit. Place a container under the hose you will be disconnecting. Detach fluid hose of the hydraulic circuit as low as possible. To fill the circuit, filling or topping up should be done with the appropriate pump, equipment, special tools. This equipment with a filter and the filter hose has a nipple that fits the filler coupling near the valve block. The pump equipment has to be fitted with a filter of 25 microns or finer. Reconnect the detached fluid hoses. Thoroughly clean the surroundings of the filter coupling. Step 3. Remove the protective cap from the filler coupling. Step 4. Connect the pump equipment hose to the filler coupling. Below is approved power steering fluids. Step 5. Pump fluid into the circuit while watching the oil level in the tank. Caution: the engine must not be allowed to exceed idling speed during the filling procedure. Be ready to top up fluid while system starts the engine. By starting the engine, fluid level in the tank will drop rapidly. Pump new fluid at same rate to avoid tank from getting empty and air being drawn into the system. Step 7. Bleed the circuit. To bleed the circuit, start bleeding procedures no sooner than fluid in tank remains at dipstick max mark while engine is running. Do not rev up engine, otherwise the fluid will foam, causing bleeding to take unnecessarily long. Place the trailing axle wheels on turntables. Start the engine while a helper watches the fluid level and pumps fluid if the level drops. Thus, most of the air is bled from the hydraulic circuit. Slowly turn the steering wheel from stop to slop a couple of times. If necessary, pump fluid until level remains at max mark and no more air bubbles emerge in tank when steering wheel is turned. Stop the engine. If system has been bled properly, fluid should not rise more than 2 centimeters above the max mark on the dipstick in the tank. Disconnect the filler hose from the filler coupling. Disconnecting the filler hose is only possible if the recess in the knurled ring is directly opposite to the pin. Refer to the figure below. Install the protective cap on the filler coupling. Here we show you the special tools that you will need to service the rear steer axle. Greasing kingpins. Below you'll see the left front kingpin and the tag axle kingpin. For the left front kingpin, left steering knuckle has 2 grease nipples, one internal and one external. For your tag axle kingpin, each steering knuckle has 2 grease knuckles. To grease the front kingpin bearings, do not remove angle sensor of the mobile electronics steered axle, otherwise the angle sensor has to be readjusted. For right front figure A, press grease into each of the grease nipples until fresh grease comes out of the gaps between the steering knuckle and the axle end. For the left front figure B, remove the plug plate and O-ring at the bottom. Press grease into the kingpin grease nipple until fresh grease appears at the top gap between the steering knuckle and the axle end. Reinstall the plug plate and O-ring. Now press grease into the grease nipple of the plug plate until fresh grease appears at the gap between the steering knuckle and the axle end. And this is going to conclude the TD925 steering tag axle with dual tires, Part 2, Maintenance Procedures. In this session, we covered maintaining rear steer components, using onboard diagnostics, reading fault codes with the mobile electronic, erasing fault codes, and aligning angle sensor positions. And this is going to conclude our training. For questions regarding this webcast, please contact ABC's Technical Service Department at 877-427-7278. Listen for the prompts for Coach Technical Support and select the appropriate option. Support is available at this number 24/7.